Welcome back once again, all of my low-carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. One thing that anybody who knows me learns really fast about me is that I love cookies. Homemade cookies are my weakness in life. You put a plate of homemade cookies in front of me, I have a really hard time saying no. I eat cookies literally every day. Every night before I go to bed, I have 2 cookies and a half glass of milk. I have done this for years. And these cookies today are quickly becoming my favorite cookies. They are keto, gluten-free, coconut flour, chocolate chip cookies. These turned out so perfect. The texture was perfect. The taste was scrumptious. Even the shape turned out perfect. They turned out so perfectly round. They were just wonderful. And I'm also going to teach you how to make keto chocolate chips that do not turn into this liquid morphed blob once they are baked. Most homemade keto chocolate chips, once they're baked, turn back into liquid. But these, they melt just the same way as traditional chocolate chips do. They melt just enough to mold into the cookie, but not so much that you can't tell it's a chocolate chip cookie. Once they come out, they look like chocolate chips. You bite into the cookie and it still has that yummy chocolatey goodness that you want from a chocolate chip cookie. They are so good. And if you want printable versions of these, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find printable versions of these and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button. Also, while you're there clicking the subscribe button, make sure you click that little notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. Make sure you click it so you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And if you want to support this channel, make sure that you scroll down in the description of this video. You'll see some Amazon affiliate links there. Click on my link. Anything that you buy on Amazon through my link, I will get a small portion which will go to help support the channel. So once you click on that link, even if you don't want that item it routes to, just go up to that Amazon search bar, search whatever you want, and anything that you buy off of Amazon using my affiliate link, I will get a small portion of it and it will go to help support the channel. And while you do all that, let's get cooking. In a medium saucepan over medium heat, place 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Allow the coconut oil to melt over medium heat, and after it melts, let it sit for just a couple minutes so it can get warm. You don't want it to get it so hot that it boils or that it's going to fry whatever you put in there. So just a couple minutes, you just want to make sure it is warm. While the coconut oil is melting, in a large measuring cup, add 1/4 cup of cocoa powder and 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of powdered swerve. Whisk these together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps in the cocoa powder or the powdered swerve. Make sure you really get in there and make sure all the lumps are out. Or you can sift it. If you prefer to sift it, you can sift it. Then set that aside for just a second. Once the coconut oil is completely melted, remove the heated coconut oil from the heat. Gradually add in the cocoa powder and powdered swerve mixture just a little at a time until it is fully combined. Don't try to pour it in there all at once. It'll make it really hard to stir and you won't be able to get it completely smooth. So add it in small amounts, mix it in until it's fully combined, and then add a little bit more, mix it in until all of your cocoa powder swerve mixture is added to the coconut oil and completely combined and smooth. The mixture will be thick. We want it that way. Once it's all mixed together, if you want milk chocolate rather than dark chocolate, then add 1/8 cup of evaporated milk or 1/8 cup of full-fat coconut milk. Stir that in until it's fully combined. Again, this mixture will be thick. This is not a pourable chocolate. It is a chocolate that you can shape. And it needs to have this thickness. That way when you bake it in chocolate chips or anything like that, it doesn't turn into chocolate coconut oil. It keeps its shape just like regular chocolate chips would. Now once this is combined, if you do think you might want to have it a little bit sweeter, because cocoa powder can be pretty strong, so if you want it a little sweeter, like I do, then add 2 to 3 drops of liquid stevia, or more or less depending on how sweet you want your chocolate. I like my chocolate to be smooth and sweet. Make sure you stir in the drops completely until they're fully combined with all of the cocoa, with all of the chocolate mixture. Once it's combined, then spoon the mixture into your chocolate chip molds, or you can pipe it in using a piping bag. Or if you don't have molds at all, just take a lined baking sheet and press the chocolate mixture out until it's about a 1/4 inch thick. Once you have the molds filled, or it's shaped in your baking sheet, however you're using it, then place them in the freezer and freeze them for at least 1 hour or until they are solid. You want to make sure that they get nice and firm in the freezer, so don't take them out before the hour. Once they've firmed up, pop them out of their molds, or if you're using the baking sheet method, just break up the chocolate slab into your desired pieces. You can use them immediately in any recipe that calls for chocolate chips, or place them in an airtight container and store them in your freezer until you're ready to use them. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line 1 to 2 large baking sheets with parchment paper. In a large mixer bowl, combine a 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of coconut flour, a 1/2 cup of monk fruit sweetener or granulated sweetener of your choice, a 1/2 cup of brown swerve or brown sugar sweetener of your choice, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Whisk these all together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps in the flour or the brown swerve. Now you might need to get in there with your fingers and break up the brown swerve a bit. Sometimes the brown swerve can stick together. So if you need to, use your fingers and break up any large lumps. It's okay if there's tiny ones in there, but you want to get as many of the lumps out as you can. Once the dry ingredients are all whisked together, add 2 large room temperature eggs. Make sure they are room temperature so you have a nice smooth cookie dough. Beat on low for about 10 seconds or just until the dry ingredients are moist. And increase your speed to medium and beat on medium for about 30 seconds or just until everything is fully combined. Scrape down the sides of the bowl and push all the ingredients to the center of the bowl. Add a 1/2 cup of room temperature softened butter. Make sure it's just softened, not melted. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Beat these on medium for about 30 seconds or until everything is fully combined and smooth. Scrape down the sides of the bowl and push all the ingredients to the center of the bowl. Use a wooden spoon and give the dough a little bit of a stir just to make sure that there are no lumps hiding in your dough. You want to have a nice, smooth cookie dough. Once everything is fully combined and your dough is smooth, then let the dough sit uncovered at room temperature for about 10 minutes. This is so the coconut flour can absorb the moisture. I've talked before about coconut flour being very, very absorbent. In most recipes that call for strictly coconut flour, you do want to let the dough or batter sit for a few minutes just so the coconut flour can absorb the moisture. That way you have a moist baked good. So allow it to sit for about 10 minutes. Once the dough has sat for 10 minutes, use a wooden spoon and stir the dough around just a little bit just to make sure that the coconut flour has absorbed some of the moisture and that the dough is the right texture. This is really important. You want to make sure that your dough is the right texture. Different brands of coconut flour can have different consistencies. Some brands can be more coarse, other brands can be more fine. So you want to make sure that the dough is the consistency of a traditional cookie dough. So if it still feels like it's a little too moist, then you can add about a tablespoon more of the coconut flour. If it feels like it's going to be really dry, then add just a little bit more of melted butter or oil of your choice. If you're not sure, then scoop out one cookie, put it on the baking sheet, bake it for about 8 minutes or so. Then check on it. If it's flat, then you know that you need to add a little bit more coconut flour. If it's crumbly, then you know you need to add a little bit more liquid. If it's perfect and stays together, then you know you got the dough consistency right. But basically, you're looking for it to be the texture of traditional cookie dough. Once your dough is the right texture, then sprinkle in 1/4 to 1/2 cup of chocolate chips of your choice. Of course, I'm using the homemade ones here. Just fold them in gently until they're fully combined and evenly distributed throughout the cookie dough. I usually start out with about 1/4 cup of the chocolate chips, and then as I'm scooping and shaping the cookie dough, if I see a cookie that I think is not going to have enough chocolate chips into it, then I just kind of press 2 or 3 more chocolate chips into the cookie dough as I'm scooping it out. But it's up to you how much chocolate chips you think you're going to want. But you don't want to use more than 1/2 cup because you don't want to have an overload of chocolate chips because then that affects the texture of your cookie. Once your chocolate chips are all folded in, scoop the cookie dough out about a tablespoon at a time onto your prepared baking sheet. Then shape each scoop into a tight ball and place it about 1 inch apart on the baking sheet. Use your fingers and lightly press down on the top of each cookie until it is the size that you want it to be. These cookies really do not spread at all, so basically whatever shape you put them on your baking sheet, that's the shape they are going to turn out once they are baked. So if you want a little puff to your cookie like I like, then make sure you shape it with the amount of puff that you want. If you like more of a flat cookie, then flatten it out to your desired thickness. Once the cookies are all shaped, place them in the oven at that 350 degrees. Bake them anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes. 8 minutes will give you a very soft cookie. 12 minutes will give you more of a crisp cookie. I like somewhere in between, so for me, 10 minutes was absolutely perfect. They were nice and soft, but not so soft that they were doughy. So anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes. And just remember, do not cook them until they are firm. I will always tell you this, gluten-free baked goods come out soft and will firm up as they cool. If you try to cook them till they're firm, you will burn your baked goods. So cook them just until you start seeing them getting golden on the bottom. You'll start seeing the bottom and the edges of the cookies turn a little bit golden, and then you know it's perfect. It's time to take them out of the oven. They will be soft. Once they've baked and you take them out of the oven, let them sit on the pan for at least 10 minutes so that the cookies can firm up to a nice texture. Once the cookies have firmed up, transfer them to a wire rack and let them cool completely. Once they've cooled completely, eat your desired amount, and any leftovers you can store in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 5 days. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.